everyone, Tina here for Papertrey Ink. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today we're going to make a fun wintry scene with a hat. We're using the Papertrey Ink's Build a Hat die set. I love how you can customize your cap here with different pom-poms, different cap cuffs. You can actually add some stitch details, some rickrack. There's stars, hearts, snowflakes. I just love everything about this. We're going to make a fun winter card with this. I love that this is also big enough to make a shaped card with too, so that's pretty fabulous. For my greeting today, we're going to be using a stamp set. It's called This Is Big Sentiments Snow. There is a coordinating die set that will cut out both of these larger snow words, and then there's sub-sentiments and pre-sentiments that go with snow. So I thought it'd go perfect with our hat project today. So let's do some die cutting. For my hat, we're going to create a pink hat today. Really, if you wanted to switch this out, you could make a blue hat if you wanted to make it for a boy. I'm also going to be taking this pom-pom here. We're going to cut this out with pink cardstock. And the pink cardstock that I'm using, we're actually going to use two different shades of pink. I have Sweet Blush, and then I also have Pale Peony. We're going to die cut out the hat with pink blush, and then the pom-pom with pink blush and Pale Peony here. Let me grab a smaller piece. And then for the cuff of my hat, we're going to cut that out with the Pale Peony also. Okay, we're going to create some rickrack. I'm going to be using some green cardstock. Pink and green just go great together. And so I have a strip of Simply Spring Moss. I'm going to cut this out. And then what I love is there's a stitched detail piece. So you can cut this out and not add stitch detail. But once you cut this out, you can layer this over your die cut. And you can add stitch detail to your rickrack. And that's what I'm going to do after I die cut this out. So we're going to use the stitched piece that goes with it. Okay, this is actually a great background piece too. If you want to add any kind of stitch detail that looks like zigzag, this is a fabulous piece. There's also in our die set, there's a straight line that you can add, and you can add stitch detail to that, or this is great on its own too. And then there's also a wavy piece. Well, there's lots of accented details you can add to your hat. I love that you can mix and match. I'm going to use, this is Spring Moss, and then I'm also going to use Simply Chartreuse, and I'll do the same thing. So I'll die cut out my rickrack here with my Simply Chartreuse, and then I'll add my stitch detail after I have it die cut out. Okay, and then I'm going to, I think we need some snowflakes for our card today. I have white cardstock. We're going to die cut out 3 snowflakes with white cardstock. Once I have everything die cut out, I do want to mention that I also cut out another zigzag or rickrack with white cardstock, and you can see the stitch detail in there. Just by adding this extra die, you can see the detail that it adds. Let me show you with the green, maybe you can see it a little better. Isn't that so much fun? And then I also cut out 2 different colors of green hearts that was in our die set here. So we have some green hearts also with Spring Moss and then Simply Chartreuse. We're going to do a little ink blending on all of our pieces. I have some Hibiscus Burst ink for my pink, and I'm just going to highlight a little bit of it with pink, just adding. I love doing this, especially when there's detail on your dies, because it really does pick up that detail. So I add a little pink here, and this is going to cover up the bottom of my hat, so I do want to put a little bit of pink along the top edge. So we'll go in here, add a little bit of pink. And that's all I'm going to do with this. We have the pom-poms that I cut out with both pinks also. So we're going to add a little detail here. Now we're going to go ahead and build our hat. I put foam tape behind the cuff of our hat, and we just layer it right over the bottom of this hat. We have a little bit of dimension there. Next we're going to layer the pom-poms of our hat. We'll just layer 2, kind of crisscrossing them. And so we'll stack them together and make it look nice and fluffy. So our hat's done. We'll put this to the side. I do want to add a little color to my hearts. So to do that, I'm going to bring in ripe avocado ink. Just going to use one of my blending brushes. And I'm just going to add a little color to one side of the heart here. And then I'm going to layer my hearts on top of my hat here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my rickrack. First I'll take the darker green. We're just going to add some glue behind here. I'm going to place this at the very bottom. And then I'll add my white. So we have 2 layers so far, and then lastly I'm going to layer in my lightest green. And we'll tack these down. There are some overhanging, so what we're going to do is just flip it over, and I'm going to trim away anything that's overhanging here. Now I want to put my hat to the side. I'm going to take my snowflakes. We're going to be putting these on a white background. So adding a little bit of color to my snowflakes is just going to make these pop against the white background. I do want to mention that when I cut out my snowflakes, the centerpieces pop out to make it even more elegant. I kept those little pieces inside my snowflake. This way I can add some dimension with some small foam squares to fit right behind them. Actually, a small foam square will help keep those little pieces in their place too. So our snowflakes are done. Now we're going to work on our greeting. Using some spring rain cardstock, I'm going to stamp my greeting with some watermark ink, and then we're going to do some heat embossing. So I'll treat my paper with my anti-static powder tool, and then I'm going to go over my snow with my watermark ink here. We'll just give this a good little press. And then I'm going to go over this with white embossing powder. Using my heat gun, we'll melt this. Now I'm going to stamp the second part of my greeting. I'm going to stamp "Days are the best days." I'm going to use my True Black ink here. And we're just going to stamp this directly on some white cardstock. Lovely. And I will end up blocking this off with my paper trimmer. And for my snow, we're going to take the coordinating die. Now I took the coordinating die and die cut out the word snow here. I'm going to line it up over my heat embossed snow, and I'll tape it down so I know it's not going anywhere. And now I can take my solid background. What I like to do is just kind of give it a little bit of a shimmy, and then I tape this down, and then I can run this through my die cut machine and it'll be perfectly positioned. So all I have to do is remove my tape, and I know this is cut out perfectly, and I can always save this for another project that I'm going to be using. So keep this in your stamp set. Now we have "Snow days are the best." Before we put everything together, I do have an A2 panel, so this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. In our die set, we have this knitted piece. I just love that you can create a background with this, okay? What we're going to do is layer it on the very bottom of an A2 panel. I'm going to tape it down, and then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I'll be right back. Okay, so we remove this, and look at that detail. I just love this. You could do a whole background if you wanted to, because it's an open end. It's an open end die, so you just line it up at the very bottom, and I'm going to do the top too. So we have a top and bottom pattern. I went ahead and adhered my background to my card front. And I just love that knitted pattern. Next, I'm going to add my hat. I did put foam tape behind here. And I'm going to place this a little bit wonky on my card to give it a kind of playful note. And then I'm going to add my snow. I'm going to add it directly across the bottom here. And I'm thinking we'll put one over here in this corner, but I'm going to scoot over my greeting. I went ahead and lowered my greeting so it's more towards the bottom corner here. And then I'm going to add my sub-sentiment right over the top. And for finishing touches, we got to bring in some gems. These are Papertrey Ink's rainbow gems. They have a real pretty iridescent hue to them. We're going to add some gems to the center of our snowflakes. And I'm also going to add a few smaller ones in my background here. And then for finishing touches, I'm going to add a little bit of a highlight to these hearts that are on my hat. Just a few little highlights. And that will finish off my card today for Papertrey Ink. Fun little wintry scene card. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.